Forrest Gregg was saying he feels a lot better today. Secondly, they haven't really gotten the ball to their two best receivers, John Jefferson and James Lofton. 2 weeks ago against the Raiders, Lofton didn't catch a pass. Last week, Jefferson didn't catch a pass. Now, what Forrest Gregg feels is it's not those guys, it's not the quarterback, but doggone it, to throw the ball, you have to protect the quarterback, and his offensive line hasn't been doing the job, and so he's starting 2 new guards today.
Inconsistency has been sort of a problem with the Cowboys, too, particularly on offense. What do you think their problem might be?
Well, they haven't been able to run, and of course that really upsets Tom Landry because he really wants to run the football. In the first 3 games, the Cowboys have averaged throwing with Gary Hogaboom 43 times a game. And Tom Landry says that's not good enough. He said, I would like to run in the 40s. I just want to throw about 25, 30 times a game. He said that's what we have to do. We have to get where we're establishing our running game with Tony Dorsett.
Raphael Septien will start it off. He will kick off for the Cowboys. The Packers won the toss. There is number 1, Raphael. Perhaps the best in the business at the moment. The Packers have been stumbling and staggering. As I said a minute ago, they haven't gained 300 yards in a game yet. Last year, they scored over 400 points. This year, they haven't been able to move the ball. Temperature is 90 degrees. It is very humid, very hot, semi-cloudy, semi-sunny. Harlan Huckleby and Philip Epps, which is a change from last week when we saw the Packers against the Bears, will be back deep for the men in green. The first time ever that Forrest Gregg has ever coached a team against Tom Landry. Gregg, of course, had so many great years as a player, a Hall of Famer from the Packers, spent 1 year here in Dallas under Landry. And he had some very interesting things to say yesterday about that year he spent here. John and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Raphael Septien set to get it going. Good high, deep kick, and it's going to be Harlan Huckleby at the 1. Jeff Rohr made the stop. Let's look at the offense for Green Bay. Dickey, Ellis, Clark. The backs in Lofton and Jefferson, of whom John Madden just spoke. Up front, those changes. Lewis at tight end. Swanky, Huffman, McCarron, Hallstrom, and Huffman. Well, let's check that. There can't be 2 Tim Huffmans, can there?
Now, Tim Huffman's playing left guard. Greg Cook is the right guard. The right tackle.
The right tackle.
68's the right tackle.
Right. First down and 10 from the 24. The Packers will operate with Lynn Dickey at quarterback and Jesse Clark the lone running back. And he gets the ball. Second-year man from Arkansas gets out to about the 25 and got about 6. Let's look at the defense now. The Cowboys, as you know, play the flex, play a 4-man front. Jones, Dutton, White, and Jim Jeffcoat, who's been playing very well. The linebackers, Hegman, Lockhart, and Dickerson. Lockhart in place of Bruning in the middle. Secondary, Walls, Fellows, Dexter, Clinkscale, and Michael Downs. It'll be 2nd and 4 as Clark got 6. Lynn Dickey is number 12. Clark again, left side, Randy White.
Well, you know, we're talking about that Packer offense, and what Forrest Gregg is trying to do is get some big guards in there. So he's starting Tim Huffman and Ron Hallstrom, 2 big 280-pound guys, and they've been tackled, so they're not only starting for the first time, but they're coming in there and they're playing that guard position.
Both of them have played guard before, either in college or earlier in their pro career, so it's not really that strange to them. 3rd down and 3.
How'd you like to be Tim Huffman and say, you know, your first start, you're playing left guard. That's the good news. The bad news is you have to play against Randy White all day.
Cowboys showed blitz and didn't do it. Ellis was the ball carrier, and he'll be shy of a first down. The Cowboy defense has done well in their 3 previous games, and they do it again.
Here's Ron Hallstrom, number 65. He fills out that uniform okay.
Indeed.
He was a number 1 draft choice of the Packers 3 years ago.
Deep man is Gary Allen for Dallas, and Bucky Scribner, number 13, will punt for the Packers. He leads the NFC in punting average. He did a good job last week against the Bears. He's left-footed. Didn't quite catch it. Allen at 21. Back to the the 30. Gary Allen has done a good job for Dallas. 46-yard punt by Scribner. Those of you who just watched the Los Angeles Rams beat Cincinnati 24-14, welcome to Texas Stadium. Pat Summerall with John Madden, where we have 12 minutes and 41 seconds left to play in the first quarter. There is no score here. Cowboys' first offensive effort. Green Bay couldn't move it. Gary Hogeboom, the quarterback. To Springs. Lost the football. He was flagged right at the line of scrimmage, but the Cowboys got it back. Rafferty came up with it.
The Cowboys really are trying to start some running here. They started the game, that first play, they had 2 tight ends in there, Pat.
Cowboy offensive backs and receivers. Hogeboom, the quarterback. Dorsett and Springs, the runners. Wide receivers, Mike Renfro and Doug Donnelly. Up front, it's Cosby, a tight end. Posderick, Scott, Rafferty, Peterson, and Cooper. 2nd and 12. Hogeboom to Springs again. Got back what they lost on the previous play. Stopped by Alfonso Carricker. On defense, Carricker, their #1 draft choice, Terry Jones, and Humphrey, the defensive ends. Linebackers, there are 4 of those: Anderson, Scott, Cumbie, and Douglas. The secondary, Lee, Lewis, Mark Murphy, and Tom Flynn, the rookie. It'll be 3rd and 7. Hogeboom from the spread. Through the hands of Cosby. Hogeboom had it on the money. Under pressure from Ezra Johnson, John Anderson on the coverage for the Packers, and the Cowboys can't get anything done.
That was good coverage by John Anderson, a linebacker. You know, that's a tough thing, but if your linebacker can cover their tight end, as Anderson covered Cosby, then you can take your secondary guys and you can double the wide receivers. So that's a big thing. I think if Anderson can continue to cover Cosby man-to-man, that's going to be a tough thing for the Cowboys to throw the ball today.
Philip Epps, a new father as of yesterday. Deep for the Packers, and Danny White back to punt for Dallas.
Was he excited, wasn't he? We saw
really?
it right after he heard the news.
Really? White. Epps, fair catch, 26. 36-yard punt, no return, as Danny White held it up into the sunshine. Epps signaled for the fair catch. Score is 0-0 at Texas Stadium. Both teams have had one go at it. The Packers couldn't move. They had to punt. The Cowboys had the same thing happen to them.
Yeah, the Cowboys are playing first down here with their 4-0 defense. They must expect pass.
Well, if you're playing Green Bay, I think you have to expect that with Jefferson and Lofton. Dickey gets it out to Ellis. Ellis has a blocker in front. There is a penalty marker down. Flag on the opposite side of the field, but I think it was Too Tall Jones who might have jumped offside.
I do too. I think Too Tall jumped, so the Packers, that was a free play for the Packers. You just go on and take it. If you get the good play, you got a first down, as they did to Ellis that time, and if you don't, you just play it over again. So that was a good situation for the Packers.
Defense, left side. Penalty will be declined. First down.
That was Too Tall Jones. Watch him here, number 72. See, he just starts a little early. Too Tall wanted to go helmet to helmet there with Greg Cook, and he just heard, boom, he said, I want to get going. You can't stay in this stance all day.
By the way, Bob McElwee is the referee. Packer offensive center is Larry McCarron. The lone setback is Gary Ellis. Dickey by Dutton. Chased by White. Caught by Dutton.
That was the thing that Forrest Gregg was saying. He said, our offensive line is just being dominated in there. He said, we don't have time to pass. Let's watch it here from the end zone. Here's John Dutton right here, number 78. He starts in. He sees him going to the outside, and he just comes in right there. Dickey looked like he was ready to throw. He gave it a pump, had to bring it back down, and when he did, there was big John Dutton.
2nd and 18 for Green Bay. Line of scrimmage, their own 31. No score yet.
And the guy blocking Dutton was Ron Holstrom, who we've been talking about.
Dickey semi-roll left to Lofton, and he almost came up with a ball deflected at the last second by Everson Walls. Lofton had him beat.
Everson Walls had to make that play he made because Lofton was behind him by about 5 yards. Look at that. Had he just gotten that ball over Everson Walls, that would have been a touchdown for James Lofton. Dickey just threw that one a little too short.
As Forrest Gregg said last week to us, he didn't leave enough air under the ball.
I'll tell you, and Everson Walls does kind of live dangerously, does he? But he plays that kind of game. You know, he would say, I had him. What do you mean? I was there. I knew it was going to be there.
3rd and 18. Knocked away. Dennis Thurman. Intended for John Jefferson, but Thurman with a good defensive play, number 32.
I'll tell you it was, but that was one of those silly passes anyway. Once here as we see this shot, you see they had the 2 safeties up in there faking a blitz. Then they didn't blitz. But here, he needed about 20 yards to go. He only threw that ball to Jefferson for about 6 or 7 yards. So even had it been complete, they have to punt the ball anyway.
Scribner back to punt. Gary Allen back deep for Dallas. Bucky and a high kick. Allen, fair catch, 31-yard line for Cowboys, and that's where they'll start their offensive movement. Green Bay nothing, Dallas nothing. Nothing between the Packers and the Cowboys, but those are finals. Atlanta rolling over Houston 42-10. A couple of other finals we'll update you on in just a minute. Kenny Newsom is in the game for the Cowboys. This is Springs. Springs gets nothing as Tim Lewis comes up from the Packers secondary to make the initial hit.
You know, one thing about the running game of the Cowboys is that left side of their offensive line still isn't settled. Phil Pozderac is starting now at left tackle, but Howard Richards still alternates that position. At the left guard, Herb Scott starts, and Glenn Titensor comes in every other play. So, you know, when you get different guys in there all the time, it's really tough to get it coordinated early in the season.
2nd down. Hogaboom back. To Springs, incomplete. Had it in the basket. Let it slip away. Tim Lewis was out there with Springs.
See that? He leads the NFL in passes thrown with 130, but his head coach doesn't like that. He said, that's not the type of offensive game that I like. He said, I like to run more. But then you say, well, if you call the plays, why do you pass more? Because the running hasn't been successful, so he's been forced to go to more passes than he wants to.
And he's going to be forced to go in that direction again, as Hogaboom will operate this time out of the spread formation. Flynn was the defender. Donnelly just couldn't get both feet down in time. He was open.
I'll tell you, it was close, though. It took that official a while. He wasn't sure if he was going to give him an in or an out or what. You know, of course, the rule is both feet have to be in bounds. Pretty good protection here by the Cowboys. You see, one of the guys was Doug Cosby protecting. Look, 1, 2, wasn't even close. If this had been a college game, it would have been good. He had that right foot in.
So the punter is Danny White. Back deep is Philip Epps. He can really run. He'll have a chance. Epps is dragged down quickly by Vince Albritton. 37-yard punt, 7-yard return, 30 yards net on the punt by Danny White. So the Packers keep squeezing toward the other end on every exchange. 27 left first quarter. Packers have the ball their own 38.
This is what we were talking about earlier. Look at those Packers, 25th in rushing, 27th in passing, 28th overall. But on the other side, the Cowboys defense is 4th overall, which is pretty good for them.
2nd in the NFC. They were never that high last year.
No.
Here's Dickey back to throw on first down under pressure under Randy White. Down goes a penalty marker. White gets the sack. Dickey goes to the turf. And there's going to be a holding call, I'm sure, against the Packers. How would you like to go in your first start at offensive guard?
Well, that's Tim Huffman. Let's watch him and let's see what we have here. Here it is right here. Here's Randy White here going man on Tim Huffman. Just watch him here. Now, White is so strong. And when he's right up there, helmet to helmet, look, they start on a double team. Huffman goes to the outside. It's really the center. It was Larry McCarron who he really ran by. They started to put that double on him. Huffman worked outside to get Jeffcoat, and then McCarron had him all by himself, and he just overpowered McCarron, who held him.
Second down and 19. The ball back at the 29-yard line now. That was Lewis in motion, and Dickey is again smothered by Dutton and White. And let's go now for an NFL update and switch you back to our New York studio and Brent Musburger.
Well, Pat, the winners now are starting to roll in. The Atlanta Falcons, they beat Houston easily. Gerald Riggs was the reason why. 25 carries, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 42-10, Atlanta in an easy win. Let's go back to Pat and John.
Green Bay nothing, Dallas nothing, as you look at Forrest Gregg, who spent a year as a player here after all those great years in Green Bay.
Let's watch Randy White again. Now, that time it was Tim Huffman who started to block him. Then he was running to the right for a screen. I think Randy White, you just have to stay with him, even though you're running a screen pass.
You better. Dickey outside Ellis. Out of bounds by Victor Scott. Not nearly enough for a first down for the Packers, and they will have to punt again with Scribner.
I'll tell you, that is frustrating. Forrest Gregg knows it better than anyone. That you can have all these great pass patterns and wide receivers and quarterbacks, but if you can't protect, if those guys up in front can't keep the other guys out, it's all academic. And that's what's happening this year to the Packers.
And it happened last week. It happened week before last against the Raiders. And it's happening again today. Gary Allen back deep. Bucky Scribner will punt. Out to the 30. Guy Prather is down very quickly. He's the first Packer to make the hit. 48-yard punt by Scribner. 34 yards net after a 14-yard return by Allen. Nothing still first quarter, 8.5 minutes left. Dramatic finish to Texas Stadium where the score is 0-0. Pat Summerall, John Madden, the Packers and the Cowboys. The Cowboys just got the ball. Dorsett in springs, and that's Dorsett in motion. Dorsett, the receiver, right through his hands. Mark Murphy was close to Tony. Hogaboom is 0 for 4. We have 8.5 minutes left to play in the first quarter here at Texas Stadium. Just underway, and nobody's been able to generate anything. This is a final score. The Saints came back to beat the Cardinals 34-24. Those of you who watched that dramatic game also, welcome to ours at Texas Stadium. Pat Summerall, John Madden. 0-0 it is here. Dorsett from behind by George Cumby. Very sluggish looking offensive effort by both teams so far.
I'll tell you, the Cowboys have been sluggish all year offensively. Remember, we had them in the preseason against Houston. We had them early in the season, and now they just don't look like they're hitting on all cylinders. Tom Landry says they want to run, but every time they run, they hand the ball to Dorsett, they lose 6 yards. And to be honest, they aren't very good right now.
Especially on offense. Landry looking on, concerned, obviously. Renfro is wide to the left. Kirk Phillips and Donnelly are to the right side. Out of the shotgun. And nothing doing. Renfro was the intended receiver. The ball was high from Hogaboom. Estes Hood was the defender. And again, Danny White will come in to punt. He may do more than punting if this continues.
There's Forrest Gregg. I know what he's thinking. He is upset about that pass protection. You take an old offensive lineman like Forrest, a Hall of Famer. He's been there. He knows you have to block. He knows what it takes to block, and he knows that his guys aren't getting it done today. I don't think they've touched Randy White more than a couple times.
Doesn't look like it. And Dutton.
Big John Dutton flew past him.
This is Danny White, and that's Philip Epps. White got this one. Chases Epps all the way back to his 20-yard line. Down quickly, the Cowboys, tripped up at about the 29 by Jeff Rohr. 54-yard punt. Steve Diassi, number 55, also down quickly for Dallas. Good kick by Danny White. So the Packers will take over at their own 30-yard line now. 7:32 left first quarter, no score as yet. Green Bay has the ball. Lynn Dickey has tried to pass 6 times and has been sacked 3 times. The Packers have gained 11 yards. The Cowboys have gained 1. Jefferson goes in motion. Ellis, a couple. Another final score. The 49ers stay unbeaten. They beat Philadelphia 21-9. Those of you who've been watching that victory by San Francisco, welcome to Texas Stadium, where the score here is 0-0 between the Packers and the Cowboys. San Francisco 4-0 now. Are they that good, John?
I think their offense is that good, and I don't know that there's anyone in the NFC that's going to test their defense that much to prove that they're not.
They keep the ball a lot, don't they? Dickey, Jefferson, first down Packers. Eugene Lockhart made the hit that brought him down. 12-yard gain. That's the first pass that Jefferson has caught in 2 weeks.
I think that's the first down that we've had today. And, you know, I see Paul Kaufman's in there now at tight end, the Green Bay Packer all-pro tight end. That's another one of the problems. They haven't had Kaufman, so the defense has been able to just cover the tight end with a linebacker and really double up on Lofton and Jefferson.
Dickey fakes, throws, Lofton, the intended receiver, deflected again by, I think, Ron Fellows and Michael Downs might have both gotten a hand on it.
You see what the Packers are trying to do now is throw on first down against that Cowboy flex, you know, and not get that pass rush defense, that 4-0, where they get the guys all up in the line of scrimmage and blitzing and coming and throwing on first down against the flex. And probably the best news for the Packers is that on the last 2 passes, they've had pretty good pass protection.
They'll get the flex again now on second down, 2nd and 10. Go on a quick count. Complete. Jesse Clark, the intended receiver. Eugene Lockhart, the defender. Incomplete. Dickey threw behind him.
Now it's a total different look. Now on 1st and 2nd down, he had that flex defense. Now he gets what the Cowboys call 4-0. That's going to be their 4 defensive linemen up on the line of scrimmage, 7 defensive backs, and with or without a blitz. And I would think with Dickey, as immobile as he is, he'll probably get a blitz.
Those 4 down linemen include Smerrick instead of Dutton. Jeff Coat, White, Too Tall Jones, the others. And here comes the blitz by Downs over the head of Lofton from Dickey. He saw it coming.
He saw it coming. He probably anticipated that as we did, because you know one thing about Dickey, everyone is going to pressure him up the middle. Look, Smerrick gets over the center. Here comes Downs right up in his face. He's not going to run out right or left and push that pocket right back into him. That's what everyone in the NFL does against Lynn Dickey. We saw it last week. The Bears did it. The Raiders did it the week before. And we see right now, that's what the Cowboys are going to do.
So the punting contest continues. Bucky Scribner with his 4th punt. Good kick. Good kick. Allen lets it soar over his head and into the end zone, and it'll come back to the 20, where Dallas will take over. 55-yard punt by Bucky Scribner. Next week, Dallas travels to Chicago, and so will John Madden and I. We'll see the NFL Today beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time. Profile on Mike Ditka, the Bears head coach, who was here for so many years. Fire and ice. And then the Giants will be at the Rams, Atlanta, San Francisco, Philadelphia, Washington, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and so on. Cowboys at work. Not very effectively again, as Dorsett gets about 3 yards, stopped by Randy Scott.
You know, Tony Dorsett was saying during the week, Pat, that he doesn't like the one-back offense, and he liked it better when Ron Springs, number 20, was always back there with him. The Cowboys have been using a lot of one-back, where they put Ron Springs up on the line of scrimmage, and Dorsett says, you know, when you're the only guy back there, you got a lot of eyes on you.
And not many guys blocking for you.
Linebackers running. Here they're in the I-4. Oh, now they get out of that. So here's what he doesn't like.
2nd and 7. Hogeboom to Cosby. Stays on his feet. Cosby into Packer territory to the 42. Tom Flynn made the initial contact, but Doug Cosby, with that big size, 6'6" and 235, maintained his balance.
Watch him. That's the thing with being 6'6". See, you can catch the ball in front of the safety and blurt him out. You see him? And then old Flynn comes up. He goes, "Whap! I'm a rookie. I'm going to hit this big tight end." He just bounces right off him. Cosby turns it up and gets upfield. But that's what height the tight end gives you. The quarterback can find him deep in the middle. Then he can run over a little free safety,
which he just did. First down, Cowboys. Here comes Dorsett. No place to go yet. He can usually find some room, and he does, down to the Packer 36. For another update right now on what's happening around the NFL, let's go back to Brent Musburger in New York.
Pat, the Bears needed a little height on this play. They led Seattle at the time by 7. A bad pass by Avellini. Keith Simpson's got it, 39 yards for a touchdown. The Seahawks and the Bears are tied at 7. Back to Pat and John.
We're tied here, but not at 7. At 0-0. 2nd and 5. Ball at the Packer 36, and Dorsett again. Close to a first down. Douglas and Cumbie hit him.
That was an interesting play on that one. Doug Cosby, the tight end, lined up outside at the left, and he came in and trapped in the middle for Dorsett. Let's see if we can see it here. We're going to come here. Now, Dorsett is going to run the ball right here. Now, here's Doug Cosby right here. He's going to come and trap in here as Dorsett runs off the play. Watch it. Here comes Cosby. Boom! He gets that trap in there. Nice hole for Tony Dorsett. He kind of waited there for that trap.
Cosby's trap on Douglas. Here's Dorsett again. Room again. To the 25 and a half, maybe. Gary Hayes made the stop.
That's what Tom Landry was talking about. You know, that they can do this. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Make you anchor in there on defense, and then throw it as a mixture.
He'll take that. Dorsett got 5 yards on each of his last carries.
Look at Tom. He's looking at that list, see if he can find any more of those good runs in there that may break Dorsett. The grocery list. I like this one. 2nd down. Hogeboom with time gets the ball out to Springs, and Springs gets inside the Packer 20 to about the 16. Another Dallas first down as Forrest Gregg looks on. 9 yards from Hogeboom to Springs. The Jets 28, Buffalo 26. That's the final. Cleveland beat Pittsburgh 20-10. The Browns' first victory of the year. Pittsburgh had been the only team in the AFC Central Division with a victory up until then. First down. Ball is at the Packers 16. Hogeboom has Dorsett deep behind him. Gives to Dorsett. It's inside the 15, about the 14th, before Randy Scott knocks him down. The Cowboys are doing a lot of this now, Pat. You know, bringing someone from the outside into trap. We saw a couple plays ago. It was a tight end. It was Doug Cosby. That play, number 20 there, Ron Springs came in and trapped in the middle. Those poor defensive linemen and linebackers in there, they're getting it from all angles now. It used to be, well, it wasn't never easy, but it used to be you didn't have to worry about the outside guys coming back on you. Well, you kind of knew it'd be someone pretty close to you come and get you. Now they come from all over. Hogeboom trips, stumbles, lost. Incomplete for Dorsett. Anderson back there with him. Well, that John Anderson is a pretty good cover guy. You know, we saw him earlier on a 3rd down pass cover man-to-man on Doug Cosby, and that time he was on Tony Dorsett. Well, you know, we did the Bear-Packer game last week. Anderson took a shot to the side of the head, then started to hyperventilate,
We really didn't know what was wrong with him. He had all those broken arm problems, but it's really encouraging and gratifying in many ways to see him back playing again this week.
Well, they finally had to take him to the hospital for the hyperventilation.
Hogeboom. Standing strong in the pocket, it's Mike Renfro with a diving catch and stays in bounds. Estes Hood was the defender, but a good play by Renfro.
Looks like Estes Hood gives a little too much cushion at the end. We see him there. It's okay. He hits in the first 5. And right now, maybe Renfro pushed off a little, and Hood just couldn't react back. The big thing that Renfro did right at the end of that pass is work back towards the quarterback. That got him a little more room.
That'll make it 1st and goal from the 3.5-yard line.
Now we get into football. And the guys down there in the pits, a lot of guys, tackles playing tight end, stuff like that.
Newsom and Dorsett are now the 2 runners. Newsom tiptoeing to about the 1. Mark Lee and Mark Murphy were the first 2 in green, the Packers, to hit him.
You know, Dorsett looks like all the time between plays, and even sometimes during a play, that his next step may be his last one. But he just kind of waits for, you know, when you really need it. He always saves a little, you know, to boom, you know, to pump something in there.
Newsom and Dorsett are the runners, and let's see what Dorsett might do. He should get it. Springs in motion. It's Newsom. Newsom does get it. Touchdown Cowboys, and they lead 6-0.
Newsom is a halfback fullback. He weighs 235 pounds. Watch him through. That's the old dive play. He lines up and split backs right behind the tackle. He just goes straight in there. Pretty good movement.
Raphael Septien.
Like General Nayland or someone used to have that split T dive.
Septien. With Hogeboom holding, it's 7-0 Cowboys. 80 yards, 11 plays. Hogeboom hit 3 out of 4 on that drive. Dallas leads Green Bay 7-0 with 1 minute and 10 seconds left to play in the first quarter. At Summerall, John Madden, Texas Stadium. Cowboys 7, Packers nothing. Raphael Septien set to kick off.
You know, the Cowboys really aren't a power team, but they got some power on that goal line on that last touchdown with Newsom.
Septien to Huckleby, a yard deep into the end zone.
There's a penalty back here, Pat. I think the Cowboys kicking team was probably offsides.
I think it was a man right next to the kicker who might have. He started a little bit deeper than the Septien did, but Jeff Rohr.
Jeff Rohr, and he's from Yale.
Right.
Guys from there shouldn't be jumping off sides on a kickoff.
Well, let's see what happens. The flag is way back. Septien is also back on the field. Bob McElwee, the referee.
I would imagine the Packers will have him kick it over again. Yeah. The big Greg Cook, he says, yeah, have him kick it over again from 5 yards deeper.
32, kicking team, free kick with a 5-yard penalty.
Is not Jeff Rohr.
I didn't think it'd be Jeff Rohr.
Dennis Thurman.
Well, he's from USC. I don't know, a guy from Yale, a guy from USC.
Go back and look at the touchdown.
Yeah, let's watch that touchdown again and see here what the Cowboys did is they take their right guard and the right tackle, and they're going to double Alfonso Carricker right here, and then Newsom runs right in behind this power block. But watch the job they do here. It's Kurt Peterson, the right guard, Jim Cooper, the right tackle. Now watch them start on a double. See it right there? They just get him going right back. Newsom gets right in behind him. They just power that whole pile right back into the end zone. That's power football. Cards and back.
That's why they scored.
Peterson's Cooper.
Septien again. Kick is again deep to Huckleby at the goal line. To the 25, maybe the 26. Carl Howard made the stop. And for an NFL update, let's go back again to Brent Musburger in New York.
Pat, hats off to Walter Payton. 46 yards in 9 carries, and now he has passed Franco Harris. He has pulled to within 289 yards of the great Jim Brown. Oh, yes, he's also thrown a touchdown pass today. Back to Pat.
Back here at Texas Stadium with 50 seconds left to play in the first quarter. It's the Cowboys 7, the Packers nothing.
Those Bears aren't bad. They'll get better when they get Jim McMahon back, too.
Pitch out to Clark. Round the left side. Got about 6. Dexter Clinkscale came up to make the hit that stopped Jesse Clark. He's been bothered for a couple of years now by a chronic turf toe.
There's Dexter Clinkscale. He was saying the other day that he's a born-again football player. In the offseason, he just decided that he's going to be a football player now, put his whole heart into it, and said, I'm born again football.
He has the ability. Here he comes up to force, and Dexter Clinkscale, after too tall Jones trips up the ball carrier, Dexter is right there. Jesse Clark.
That's what they like. You know, that's the thing. To run the ball, you have to stop penetration on the line of scrimmage. Now watch Too Tall here. You see, he just made a nice inside move. I'm not sure how they were going to block him. It looked like Greg Cook, the tackle, worked to the outside. Too Tall worked to the inside. And if you're going to run to that side, you better get Too Tall blocked or you're not going anywhere.
3rd and 7. 10 seconds left to play first quarter for Green Bay's offense. Nothing has worked so far. No flags. They got back. Dickey. Pass intercepted by Thurman. Intended for Jefferson. Dennis Thurman stepped in front.
Well, that's when the Cowboys are tough to throw against, when they have that 7 defensive backs in there. You see Thurman, he's coming to the outside. It's a double on Jefferson. Thurman's right there. Now, Dickey should never have thrown that ball. I mean, doggone, Dennis Thurman was there all the way with him, and he was double-teamed.
He never was open. Not at any point. 7-0 Cowboys over the Packers, the end of 1. Summerall, John Madden, Texas Stadium. Cowboys 7, Packers nothing. Dennis Thurman's interception has given the Cowboys the ball in Packer territory at the Green Bay 40. It's Newsom and Dorsett. It's out to Dorsett with some room. Cooper was the blocker out in front of him. A 15-yard gain on the quick screen from Tony Dorsett.
Let's look at that interception again. Now, here's Dennis Thurman up here. Jefferson's going to be the receiver. Dickey may have thought Thurman was going to blitz, but instead, he just runs right back here. So they have the double here, and Dickey throws it right into him. Now, this may be Dickey's last throw, but watch this. Now, Thurman runs out. He may have thought, but watch him here. Right now, there's nothing there. Look, here's Thurman here. They have him covered here, and he's throwing it right here. He threw that ball right to Dickey, and now I see in the sideline that Randy White is warming up for the Packers.
Hogaboom gives again to Dorsett, who now needs 1 yard to pass Jim Taylor, the great Packer running back, the great fullback on the all-time rushing list. Randy Wright warming up, a rookie from Wisconsin. Forrest Gregg might be ready to make a move to him.
You know, you never know how well Dickey is. You know, he had that bad back, and those things can come and go and tighten up and those types of things, and maybe he's just not playing well.
One thing about Wright, as the Cowboys are in motion and they'll bring all this back with the flags flying everywhere, he is very mobile, very quick, a very good athlete. He can get away from some of that Cowboy pressure.
And maybe that's the, you know, as we were talking earlier, everyone wants to rush Dickey straight up the middle. The way to get away is to get to the outside.
Number 61, offense.
That's big Jim Cooper. He's the guy that made that block down there in the goal line for Timmy Newsom's touchdown. Well, you got to do it. Yeah, I mean, you get a touchdown, you get an offside. But they don't mention him on the touchdown.
No.
You notice that? They never say 61. Hey, 61 made a good block down there. It's always 61 was offsides or held. Unfair.
2nd and 14. Good protection. Hogeboom, the right. Cosby, the tight end, inside the Green Bay 20, and Mike Douglas brought him down. It's shy of a first down, a 12-yard gain nevertheless.
Hogeboom saying he wants to go. Look, he's giving that signal over there to Landry. This one, he'll deal with the hand inside. Now that pass was complete because of pass protection. Cosby was covered. Then Hogeboom could hold the ball, wait, and then finally got it to him because he had good time, good pass protection.
3rd and 2, and Cosby is one of the very best at it, getting uncovered after he's covered. Hogeboom. Cosby. First down at the 10.
Cosby's taking a little rest here. He said, I caught some passes, did some stuff. I want to sit here a little while, see, because it is hot and humid out there. Cosby's trying to get a little oxygen off that ground. He just comes across here underneath, catches the ball. It was 3rd and 2, picks up about 4 or 5 yards in the first down. Hogeboom watched Cosby all the way.
Just outside the 10, so it's 1st and 10 from the little 10.5-yard line. Hogeboom started 0 for 5. Since then, he's 6 out of 7. So now he's got the hot hand. Packers blitz. Newsom inside the 10 to about the 8. Bill Neal, the nose tackle, stopped him.
Now the Cowboys are getting into the type of mixture. They're starting to get a little push in that middle. They're starting to get a little run blocking. And now Tom Landry, in calling his plays, can go to the mixture of run and pass. There's Tom. It's 90 degrees, humid, hot down there. He still has that hat and sport coat on.
Coat and hat.
He won't even sweat.
Won't admit it. Hogeboom tried to get away, is in the grasp, and now he is down in the grasp of George Cumby.
There was one. He was waiting there. He was looking in the end zone, and the Packers know this is a team. Even if a team doesn't blitz much, this is an area that they want to blitz. Now watch, they bring both their inside linebackers to the left. And we see that they started both Cumby and Scott there, and Cumby was the guy that was free. But they took both their linebackers and put him over one guard.
3rd down and 13 for Dallas. They lead 7-0 over the Packers with 11:45 left to play in the first half.
Well, there's nothing you can do to excite this crowd, huh?
Not today. Touchdown, Mike. Hogeboom has nothing. Estes Hood was the defender who might have had a shot at it for the Packers, but there was not a receiver anywhere in the area.
Well, I think the thing is, it was Doug Cosby again who was down in the end zone who he was looking at. It looked like he expected Cosby to break out to the right, and Cosby just stayed there and hooked. Cosby looks a little tired. See him going off the field? Like his shirt tail's hanging out. Man, he's a National League guy.
Yes, he is. Raphael Septien. Hogeboom is the holder, and of course he's the thrower. Septien hit from 51 yards out last week. He had 3, missed 1. Hogeboom the holder. Septien makes it 10-0 from 32 yards out. 11 minutes, 29 seconds left to play in the first half at Texas Stadium, and the Cowboys on top of the Packers 10-0. At Summerall and John Madden at Texas Stadium. Cowboys leading the Packers 10-0. Raphael Septien set to kick off. You saw the story of the drive. Septien hangs it high. He's been doing a good job field goal wise and kickoff wise. That one only gets to the 6. Huckleby gets to the 23. Dennis Thurman on the tackle. Flag down.
After that last series, we did see Randy Wright was warming up in the sidelines, but now he's back standing up there with his helmet off. Lynn Dickey has his helmet on, so he's going back in as a quarterback.
And here comes Dickey. what the penalty is about from the referee, Bob McElwee.
On the run back, half the distance to the goal line, first down.
John Dorsey was the culprit. There's Randy Wright and Rich Campbell alongside him. Forrest Gregg really impressed with Randy Wright and his physical ability.
He came in, and from the right after a few days in camp, Forrest was saying you could tell he was going to be the #2 quarterback. He said then everyone realized it, but he beat out Rich Campbell and David Whitehurst, who they let go.
And he said it was probably the most easy decision he had to make, but it was so clear. Dickey gives to Jesse Clark. Jesse gets a couple of yards before Eugene Lockhart, the middle linebacker replacing Bob Brunig, made the stop.
I think he's going to be a good one, that Eugene Lockhart. His nickname is the hitting machine. Let's see if we can just watch him. Now, here's Lockhart right here. Now, in the Cowboy flex, they're going to keep guys off his legs so that he can just react right or left. Now, watch him. He's down there in that stance. He's ready to go. He sees the play coming, takes on the guard, gets right in there underneath that fullback. He really has great instinct for the ball.
Second down. Dickey to Clark again. To about the 19. Billy Cannon was one of the tacklers, the Cowboys' #1 draft choice. Jim Myers, the silver-haired gentleman, talking to the offensive line group. Tom Rafferty is the man closest to you.
You know, he's talking about that blitz where they had those 2 linebackers coming off to the right. Rafferty, the center, has to work to the right when both linebackers go to the right. You know, the guy, see, Doug Donnelly, he gets to sit in front of the fan because he's a wide receiver. The linemen, they have to get up because they're heavier and they sweat more. Little guys sit by the fan.
With a towel around their neck.
They get to drink juices and stuff.
The other guys get this water.
Yeah, they send them up in the middle of the bench. They don't get any fans.
Plus they bring in dirt for them.
Not here.
Second down. Ellis. Dexter Clinkscale up quickly to make the stop. Tom Landry. Been here a while.
He has experience.
Forrest Gregg played 1 year for him at the end of his career as a so-called player coach. Very interesting comment he had to make yesterday about the year he spent here.
Well, he said after playing his whole career under Vince Lombardi, he thought there was only one way to do it. You know, where you just drill and you go man on man and get down in the pits and get after him. So, but then he came with Landry, who he respects almost as much as Lombardi, and he said he had a totally different approach, and he said they both work.
Reverse to Lofton. It's worked here before. Doesn't quite get the first down this time. We saw him take that about 75 yards a couple of years ago in the playoffs. That same play from the other side of the field.
And I'm glad to see the Packers trying something here. I mean, they're going and they're doing something. You know, I mean, you have to get something going. Let's watch it here. Here comes Lofton. He lines up on the right-hand side of the street, comes all the way, so he has to run darn near 50 yards before he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Now, he's going to get a good block right out here by his center, Larry McCarron. He's going to make a block right in front that got him that far.
Fellows up in good shape, though. They did not overreact. It's 2nd and 2. Dickey gets it down the middle to backup tight end. Number 86. Let's have a look.
That's Ed West.
Ed West, yes, who changed numbers.
Yeah, he was 49, and the league wouldn't let him wear 49, so they switched him to 86. But he was an impressive rookie in training camp, and another one of those players that Forrest Gregg wants to build his team around. In fact, he said when he was 46, the league says, hey, he has to be an 80 number, and the equipment man didn't want to give him 86, Boyd Dowler's number, and Forrest Gregg says, look, if you're going to give Dowler's number to someone, give it to a good player. Give it to Ed West.
And that's what he's wearing now. Jefferson goes in motion, and Dickey backpedals. Ball batted up in the air. Too tall Jones and John Dutton, both of whom stretch up to about 6'8" or 6'9", both got their hands up in the air.
And you know, for any quarterback, it's always tough to throw to the right side against the Cowboys because those guys are so tall. You see, they have pretty good protection. Those guys didn't even make the picture, but when you're 6'8", 6'9", you just put your hands up, you're 7'6", and boom, you knock a lot of balls down.
2nd and 10, 8:14 left to play in the first half with the Cowboys leading the Packers 10-0. Jefferson again in motion, and Dickey is overwhelmed by Michael Downs, who came on a safety blitz. That's the 4th sack. Look out.
I'll tell you, Michael Downs hit that thing perfectly. We're going to see it here. He's going to be coming into the picture, and just let it run a little, and we're going to see him time this thing. Here, stop it right here. Here's Downs. Now he's going to try and hit this hole just as the ball snapped. The middle linebacker's coming here. Here comes Downs right through here. He's going to hit Dickey. They don't even touch him. Watch him how he times that thing. The guard blocks out. The center blocks out. Boom. Here comes Michael Downs right up the middle.
As you say, they did not touch him. 3rd and 17. Blitz again showing. Dickey by White and Downs again. 5 times he's been sacked already. And it's not Dickey's fault. He has no chance.
That's a tough one to do. Because you can see what happens. You see they're bringing the whole bunch. They're bringing Clinkscale. They're bringing Downs. They're bringing Thurman. They're bringing Randy White. Now the fans are getting excited. They like that defense. They like that blitzing. Hey, go blitz, guys. Dickey doesn't like it. He's shaking his head, and they bring too many. I mean, they brought about 7 on that play.
That's all he can do is shake his head. Bucky Scribner back to kick. Good kick. Allen back deep. 24-yard line. 37. Flag is down. Rich Wingo made the hit that brought him down. A 54-yard punt by Scribner.
It was a late flag. That flag got about 20 yards. The guy threw that one. That'll be that illegal block from behind above the waist or whatever they call it.
Against Dallas.
That guy really threw that flag. You know, it has a weight in it, so he can kind of heave that thing about 20, 25 yards to catch that guy.
He could be a quarterback.
Illegal block above the waist. Number 28 on the return. First down.
Illegal block above the waist. Norm Granger, backup running back for the Cowboys, was the culprit. 7:20 left to play in the first half with the Cowboys leading Green Bay 10-0 at Texas Stadium. 10-0 Cowboys over Green Bay. Second quarter. 7:20 left to play. Hogeboom, the quarterback. Dorsett, the lone setback. Now Springs joins him. Dorsett. Mike Douglas quickly into the Dallas backfield. Let's check out the scoreboard around the NFL, see what's going on. Seattle leading the Bears 10-7. Second quarter. Bears unbeaten. Miami 13. Indianapolis Colts 7. The Giants 3. The Buccaneers 0. Second quarter. All of those games are ones that started at the same time we did. Denver 7. Kansas City 0 at Mile High. Here it's second down. Hogeboom fakes to Dorsett. Has plenty of time. Has Cosby open. Cosby stays on his feet, absorbs a blow, and hurls that big long body for about 4 more yards.
That was the old Washington Redskin play. To see that, they're going to pull the guard and tackle to the right. Watch the guard and tackle pull. You see him coming across. The other guard pulls that way. Hogeboom fakes, comes out with the guard on this side, and then throws that bootleg across to Cosby. I like that kind of stuff, where the left guard and left tackle pull right, the right guard, Peterson, pulls left, the quarterback fakes, comes out, throws. A lot of stuff.
First time we've seen Dallas do that. That Springs for a loss of about 3 by Cliff Lewis.
You know what happens on those types of plays? You practice against them so much when you're playing the Redskins that someday I'm sure Tom Landry said, hey, that looks pretty good. We're doing that. Hogeboom last year was a backup quarterback he was probably the guy that was running the Redskin plays. He probably knows that play as well as Theismann does.
As many times as we've seen the Redskins do it, the Giants do it, now the Cowboys do it, it sort of just paralyzes the middle linebacker. He doesn't know where to go.
Oh, it just, I mean, there's so much movement. The back coming, guards crossing, tackles, boom, bootleg, cross.
Hogaboom, screen pass, Springs. Flag down. Springs almost got enough for a first down. Maybe he did. Mark Murphy made the tackle, but the penalty marker is back down in Dallas territory.
It's the Cowboys. You tell Gary Hogaboom.
Number 85, blocking before the ball was caught.
Backup tight end Fred Cornwell is the man they singled out as the violator. 13-yard gain wiped out.
They call him Cosby Jr. When he was at USC, that's a nickname they gave him. He wore Cosby's number, 84, and he looks a little like Cosby.
Look at their sizes.
Still second down.
But still, on a screen pass, you can't block until the ball gets caught. Now watch, if he blocks before, when the ball's in the air, you can't do it.
Cosby is 6'6" and 235. Cornwell is 6'6" and 235. So it'll still be second down. 22 yards they need to pick up a first. And Gary Hogaboom does not go to the spread formation this time. He has a very, very strong arm. Packers pressure. Second sack of Hogaboom. It was Randy Scott, who had a great game in the playoffs 2 years ago against these Cowboys, and George Cumby, who made the sack. Let's look at it again.
Now, again, we're going to see the linebackers doing the same thing. You see, both linebackers cross and come to the right this time. Hogaboom looked, didn't have anyone open, had to hold the ball, and then the blitz got to him. One thing that's interesting, though, is Doug Cosby isn't in there. We're talking about Fred Cornwell, Cosby Jr. Doug Cosby looked like he was awfully tired, and I wonder if he's just tired or maybe something happened to him.
3rd and 33. No, he's back in the game.
He's in there now.
Tight end on the left. They decide we won't go for the whole bundle, and they give it to Dorsett. Dorsett fumble. Hit by Charles Martin. Cosby is in there signaling now, say we got it back, and we'll see Danny White to punt. Rafferty.
Old Tom Rafferty picks up the thing and says, I got it. What's this now? Dorsett has some of these problems sometimes, and again, it's just, you see what happens. He had everything all right, but he got hit from behind. That's usually when a back fumble. You know, they can have that thing tucked away, but they can't see stuff coming from behind, even though you are nicknamed Hawkeye.
That was Robert Brown that hit him from behind and knocked the ball loose, and Dorsett, I think, is okay. It is hot and humid, and Danny White is in to punt. Philip Epps back deep for Green Bay. White catches a good one. Epps retreats, juggles, hangs on. Down quickly is Victor Scott, number 22, who impressed everybody during training camp, made the football team, and now does something like this.
I'll tell you, this is a heck of a play by Scott. He got down there, played off the blocker, waited long enough till Epps caught the ball, then made the tackle.
10-0 Dallas. 10 Green Bay nothing as you look at the Packers head coach Forrest Gregg.
You know what he was doing, Pat? He was talking to his offense on the sideline, quizzing them about how they pick up the Dallas 4-0 blitzes. That's the thing he's worried about, is what happens on 2nd and 3rd down.
Well, this is their regular defense on 1st down, the regular flex. Dickey on a semi rollout. Has John Jefferson in front of the Packer bench. Ron Fellows out of bounds. For an NFL update right now, let's take you back to New York and an update from Brent Musburger.
Well, Pat, Phil Simms and the Giants have got it going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Lawrence Taylor was out with a back spasm. He forced a turnover, and then Simms hit his 9th touchdown pass of the season to Bob Johnson. 10-0 Giants lead. Back to Pat and John.
At midfield are the Green Bay Packers against Dallas. Dallas 2-1, the Packers 1-2.
So those Giants are going to win that one, though. They better get Lawrence Taylor back in there and out of that spasm.
Can't afford a back spasm, at least on the part of Lawrence Taylor. Dickey back again, has Lofton behind him. Ron Fellows, Dexter Clinkscale, and Michael Downs in the area.
Looks like the Packers have kind of solved that regular defense of the Cowboys in pass protection because Dickey is getting some time now. But the big one's going to be that third down again. You see, here on first down, now the Cowboys use that flex, and they kind of got some doubles. They're keeping a back in there now to help, and Dickey is getting a little time. Early, he was just getting knocked on his back.
As long as they can keep him in this defense, the blocking scheme is not that difficult. It's a regular four-man front now. Dickey looking it over. But here comes a blitz. Now it's Michael Downs again, who came in scot-free.
Again, Michael Downs really does the job here of timing. Now watch, he's not even in the picture. Now watch, here he comes. See, he just times it so they don't count him. He's not counted. Boom, he just gets there just as Dickey is throwing the ball.
John, as well as he's timing that thing, would you consider when Dickey comes out changing your snap count?
I would sure change the snap count. I'd either go on a quicker snap count or a longer snap count because Michael Downs really has that snap count down now.
Third down conversions have been nil for the Packers. 0 for 6, and now they've got that dangerous looking front up, but they don't blitz. It's a four-man rush. Dickey has nothing to work with. Everybody was covered. Philip Epps, the intended receiver. Fellows was right there with him. Flag is down.
Watch this now. There is no blitz there, but watch your pressure. Randy White, 54, gets right here. Watch him. He keeps fighting. He's down. He rolls, and he rolls right up on Dickey's legs as he's throwing the ball. That flag was against the Packers, so they'll punt anyway.
He even rolls hard enough to knock somebody down.
He has good roll. You see him, and he hits, and then he rolls, and he just keeps on going until he gets to the quarterback rolling. I'll tell you, quarterbacks don't like that either. As they're stepping up, you know, and looking downfield, and they feel some guy rolling up in their legs.
Especially if it's Randy White. Scribner, left-footed, punted 5 times already. Allen at the 10. To the 25. Gary Allen is not a spectacular returner, but he does get it back upfield. Dallas 10, Green Bay nothing, with 3:22 left to play in the first half at Texas Stadium. He's got all the equipment. Here's Dorsett over the left side, about 5 yards for him. Knocked out of bounds by Tim Lewis. Dallas 10, Green Bay nothing. Dorsett 5 yards. Carried 11 times for 22 yards. Far below his standards. New York, we were talking about the Jerry Cooney fight, and that long-awaited return. Following that will be the New York Triathlon and the Marlboro Cup. 2nd and 5 here from Texas Stadium. The Cowboys with Gary Hogeboom at the helm. Dorsett, the deep back. Springs on the right, Cosby on the left, and Cosby goes in motion. Cosby has the catch on the Dallas first down. Knocked out of bounds by Mark Murphy over in front of the Packer bench, but they'll move the sticks.
You know, Cosby's thinking about that play. He really has to run a long way, and he's getting a little tired out there, Doug, because he starts on the left side of the formation, comes all the way across in motion, and then runs his pattern. He's already caught those 5 passes today and had some blocks and some leads and some traps and
some knockdowns.
Some knockdowns and knocked down a safety.
Yep.
Usually when a guy gets tired, those hands go to the hips a lot more often. You notice that?
Well, I was just watching him come out of the huddle and get down in his stance, and he's got one hand on his hip. That's Dorsett in motion, and Hogeboom gives back to Springs. Springs skates to about the 43. Pick up a 5. John Anderson tripped him up. 3:03 and exactly 3 minutes now left to play in the first half as the Cowboys lead the Packers 10-0.
You know, this does look like a slow game, and the players, you know, they're walking slowly back to the huddle and off the field and so on, but there is a lot of humidity down there, and that does tend to sap you.
It'll be 2nd and 5. Tony Dorsett, by the way, has just passed Jim Taylor on the all-time NFL rushing list. This is Springs. Couple short of a first down.
You know, talking about this weather and sapping you, I think it sapped the fans here. I have never heard such a quiet football. How many people do they have here today?
65,000.
65. Those 65,000 could set a record today for being quiet. Because maybe they're just trying to get cool. Look, they're sweating and stuff. Look at them. Look at all those fans.
That's what's wrong. That's why they're not making any noise. They're fanning each other.
They're too hot to make noise. But this is a quiet place. Whoa.
2-minute warning. After they get the warning, they can put the fans down and start yelling. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Down at the bottom, Tony Dorsett has replaced Jim Taylor as number 6 on the all-time list. This is run Springer, Timmy Newsom. Sorry. Enough for a Dallas first down. Terry Jones made the hit that brought him down. Get into those statistical races and all that business about the all-time leading rushers. It really is hard to compare because you don't know who had the offensive line. You don't know who had the limited schedule. You don't know the conditions. It's all a matter of those who like to talk about those things.
That's right. More games now, artificial turf, traveling, the whole thing.
1:37 left to play in the first half here. 10-0. Dallas leads. Cowboys 10, Packers nothing.
The Cowboys would probably like to run out the clock here and score. You know, you never want to just run out the clock with a 10-point lead, but I think they would like to keep the ball away from the Packers and at the same time score a touchdown.
They need about 15 yards to get within range for Septien. Obviously, they need half the distance down the field to get where they can score a touchdown. Hogeboom setting up a screen. Almost picked off by Ezra Johnson.
Oh,
he had it smelled, didn't he?
And I'll tell you, Ezra, you know, those defensive linemen, you know, they get those hands and fingers all taped up and look like they hit their head. A defensive lineman, whenever he drops a ball, will always hit himself in the head. That's your natural reaction, but they don't get a chance to catch that thing. Look, he got his fingers taped up, his hands taped up, and the ball was right to him, and he dropped it.
That's how he hurt his fingers, hitting himself in the head.
Yeah, but they always do that. If you watch a defensive lineman, when he drops a pass, will always hit himself in the head.
Second down. They need 10 from the spread. Packers blitz. Hogeboom, nothing doing. Pass almost picked off by Tom Flynn. He couldn't find a handle. Somebody else almost got the rebound, John Anderson. He couldn't hang on, and Hogeboom was lucky he didn't come up with an INT. Flag is down. Hogeboom was hit late, I think.
I think he was. I think he was hit just as or just after he threw the ball. That'll be a 15-yarder.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. 94 defense. First down.
Flag is thrown against Charles Martin, number 94.
Let's watch it here. Now, we see the breast. Here's 94 right up the middle. Look, he's going to come right up the middle after a spinner. And we saw he did hit him late. I mean, Hogeboom threw the ball. The camera went with the ball, and the guy still was in the process of hitting old Boomer there. Oh, good spit for a quarterback.
Couldn't recover from the spin in time to stop, maybe.
You know what his nickname is? Boomer.
Boomer's a national leaguer.
Yeah, but that's a, you know, like I had a guy, Bob Brown was Boomer. I mean, Bob Brown weighed 290 pounds. He had arms this big, like thighs. He hit a goalpost once with his right forearm and knocked it down. That's a Boomer.
Sure is. Hogeboom with a screen. This time it's Newsom, and Newsom barrels down to the Packer 25-yard line. Again, there's a penalty marker down. And a timeout is called. This one taken by Dallas. And correction. They picked up the flag. No flag. Timeout, Dallas. Coming up at the half, of course, scores and highlights with Brendan Irv, and live in the studio will be Jim Brown. Also Cooney, and a report on Muhammad Ali. Jim Brown watching very closely the progress between, or the contest, I guess you could say, between Franco Harris and Walter Payton, and now Dorsett joining that list of all-time rushers. And Brown, of course, very, very interested and caring very much about that all-time rushing record.
Well, you know, somewhere they ought to, I've always felt, they ought to just leave the great ones be the great ones. I mean, Jim Brown did it. He did it in his day. He was the best. There's no question there. And I don't know that you can compare guys today. I mean, they have everything is different. More games of travel, the artificial turf, different type of coaching. But let Jim Brown be the great one he was. Let Walter Payton, Franco Harris be what they are. O.J. Simpson, Tony Dorsett. You know, we always have to say who was better. I mean, who was better? Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, Rocky Marciano. So what? They were all great. I don't know.
And certainly Jim Brown would fit into that category. I played against him many, many times. I know he was great. But the other guys, you know, I've never seen anybody I think would compare with Walter Payton in all phases of the game, too. You're so right.
Well, this guy here we're watching today, he'll gain some yards for you.
Here's Hogerblum gaining some yards for the Cowboys. Tries to get down, gets down to about the 23. Picked up only 2.
You know, that was a little thing, but it was very smart. You know, we were talking about fumbles and how most people fumble when they're hit from behind. But watch what Hogerblum does. He feels, now look, he knows someone's catching because he can't run fast. You see him, he looked back, felt him coming, and then put both hands under the ball.
Flag is down as the Cowboys go on a quick count. Alfonso Carricker, the #1 draft choice of the Packers from Florida State, made the sack on Hogerblum, who is a little bit slow getting up himself.
They were offsides. You know, these guys are getting up slow, and you don't know if it's an injury type thing or just as we talked about earlier, they really are tired out there today.
Interesting comment, I thought, that Tom Landry.
Number 90, defense. Second down.
Tom Landry made about Hogerblum yesterday. You ask him how is he doing, what's he doing, and he said frankly he's still a young quarterback. He's got a good enough arm and enough ability to get himself out of problems, but once down the road he learns what the mechanics of the game are, he'll be better.
That's what they'll do. You know, sometimes they'll make the wrong decision, but they're strong enough and quick enough that they get themselves out of the trouble that they put themselves into.
He operates from the spread this time. On second down, the blitz is coming, and Hogerblum's arm is not strong enough to get it there that quickly to Doug Donnelly. He had no chance.
I'll tell you, Mike Douglas, the outside linebacker, number 53, he just came free straight up the middle. Hogerblum saw him coming. He just kind of threw the ball away. But that was a blitz that the Cowboys didn't pick up that time. Let's see if we can see it here. It's going to be to the right side. You see, here's 53 coming right now. Hogerblum sees him, feels a whoop like that, and then he does a spin so he doesn't take that hit head on.
Herbert Scott comes in with the play. Glenn Titensler goes out. Third down, 4 they need. 46 seconds left first half. Septien is loose and ready. Hogerblum out of the pocket. Trying, looking, nothing doing. Third time he's been sacked. He gave the official a little shiver.
Well, he's not going to give it to the defensive linemen because they're the opponents. He's not going to give it to his own guys, so the only guy around there is the official. But I'll tell you, these guys out there right now are dead tired. You know, some of those big linemen can lose as much as 15 or 20 pounds out there in a day like this, and they look like they're just kind of all standing in mud or something on artificial turf.
It is a slow motion game.
You know, the quarterback has blood on it. Blood on that hip.
Can't be his. I guess it is his.
No,
look at his elbow.
Coming off that right elbow. He's had problems with that all year. He
Nasty
has one of
looking
those
thing.
artificial turf elbows.
Septien from 42 yards out. Hogerblum holding. Septien with 20. 13-0. That one would have been good from 50 at least. He really launched it. How about that guy yesterday for Georgia winning the game with a 60-yard field goal?
I'll tell you, and they say that in that game, in the pregame warm-up of that game, that he had kicked one 70 yards.
Danny Ford, the Clemson coach, said he really nailed it. In fact, he said the ball's got to be flat. Next week, will be at Soldier Field in Chicago as the Cowboys go to play the Bears, and Mike Ditka. Fire and Ice will be on the NFL Today preceding our game. Cowboys and the Bears at Soldier Field, the first time Ditka's ever faced Tom Landry since he was here as an assistant. When do you get there, John?
I'll get there. I leave Tuesday. I'll get there Thursday. Ready.
I'll leave Thursday and get there Thursday.
No, I'm going to leave Thursday and get there Friday. I leave here Sunday and get there Tuesday to leave Thursday to get there Friday. Yeah, that's it. Well, I get confused when I'm driving, taking trains and stuff.
Oh, yeah, well. It's not true you're afraid of the dark. I know that. 12 seconds left to play in the first half. Septien to kick off to the Packers. Cowboys leading 13-0. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League, is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Dallas Cowboys and the National Football League is prohibited. Septien to kick off. High, hanging. Huckleby. Thurman. One of those there. Steve Diassi also there.
Steve Diassi is a rookie who made this Cowboy team as a special teams guy. Watch him, number 55, and the things they have to go through. You see him, he just hits that guy with his left arm, hits another guy with his left arm, and gets in there and makes a tackle. He just bounces off him as he runs down there.
I think that's why more and more teams are keeping more linebackers, just for use on special teams like that.
For the special teams, and then they're usually like linebackers and defensive backs mostly. As you say, special teams is getting to be such a big part of the game today that guys are drafted, signed, and kept on a team just to play special teams, to play coverage teams.
And they hope that someday they'll develop well enough to play on a regular basis, but they are drafted for that purpose. You're exactly right. Slim Dickey. Too tall Jones around the outside. Dickey to Lofton. Almost picked up. The Cowboys had it read well, and Michael Downs, who's had one heck of a first half, was back there to knock it down. They'll head for the locker rooms now with the score: the Dallas Cowboys 13, the Green Bay Packers nothing. Dallas has dominated on what has been a sultry, rather slow first half at Texas Stadium. 13-0 Dallas over Green Bay. Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas, where the Cowboys lead the Green Bay Packers 13-0. Forrest Gregg is in his first year as the head coach of the Packers, and I guess Vince Lombardi, who is acknowledged as being such an outstanding leader and such a great coach who spent those years in Green Bay, started off by saying Forrest Gregg was the best lineman he ever coached, and then he said he's the best player I ever coached as an offensive tackle and an offensive guard.
You know, and that's something for an offensive lineman. You know, usually the best is some quarterback or some running back, wide receiver, but when you have a guy that is the best you've ever coached, that means that this guy may have been one of the best or the best offensive linemen that ever played this game.
Of course, back in 1967, he was involved with the Packers, was a lineman with the Packers in the famous Ice Bowl game. He was talking to us yesterday about he remembered every play in that drive.
He was talking to the thing, and he said they were all down there like chicken scratching, you know, trying to get some footage. And here we see Forrest Gregg there. He's a right tackle. Remember, Bart Starr is going to quarterback sneak it to the right. He said on the timeout before that play, he went over to Coach Lombardi. Still calls him Coach Lombardi, and said, I said, you know, we can't pull our guards. We have to do something straight ahead. Coach Lombardi said, okay, 31, and the quarterback keep the ball. Boom.
And Green Bay won that game 21-17. Another guy who was involved in that game, another Hall of Famer and certainly one of the greats ever to play, was Bob Lilly, who was the honorary captain for the Cowboys today. And Tom Landry said of Bob Lilly, there will never be anybody like Bob Lilly.
Well, you know, the thing that was kind of exciting about Bob Lilly, today he was the honorary captain. When they introduced him with the lineups, he got 10 times the ovation that the rest of the players did. And I just like to see that. I mean, they still remember these guys.
Well, probably every team ought to do that and get back into history a little bit. I think that's something that the game needs. It's 13-0 right here at Texas Stadium. The Cowboys lead the Packers. Back at Texas Stadium, it's 13-0. The Cowboys over the Packers. Forrest Gregg. It would seem to us, at least from our vantage point, looking down at what's going on at the Packer bench, that Lynn Dickey may not start the second half. It may be Randy Wright, the rookie from Wisconsin. But right now, Eddie Garcia will kick off. Back deep for Dallas, Gary Allen and Ron Fellows. 13-0 Cowboys leading. Line drive kick by Garcia, who played his college football at SMU right here. This is Fellows. Fellows to the 20. Guy Prather again is the man down to make the hit. Seems like that's been every time for the last 2 weeks. He's been the man to lead the rush downfield. Let's look at halftime statistics now and see what went on. Totally dominated. Well, hold it a second. There's a penalty marker down back in front of the Packer bench. Here's the statistical study of the first half.
You know, I think the thing is, you know, you always think of the Packers as offense, and maybe they don't get rushing, but look at that passing. They only had 28 yards passing in the first half, and you can see here that Lynn Dickey has a look of frustration about him, and I think they'll probably switch quarterbacks. But the other thing that I'm sure that they talked about in there at halftime is picking up those blitzes, and until they do that, it's all academic. Lynn Dickey was only 5 for 16 and 64 yards, but really they finally got the regular defense solved, but they still didn't get that 4-0 thing of the Cowboys solved yet.
So Garcia now, after the penalty on the kickoff, will start the action from the 30-yard line. Last week, the Packers had a problem with the Bears. Obviously, they lost the game, but only 9-7. Chicago held the ball for more than 40 minutes in the game. There is Randy Wright. He looks serious about warming up this time. Garcia really roots this one. Fellows chased 5 yards deep into the end zone, out of the end zone. He kicked that ball 75 yards. Must be something to do with the air. Hogaboom, you saw it, gash in his elbow at the half, or before the half, when he was holding for the field goal attempt. He had put his elbow in the ice bucket during the half. He is back, however. That's aggravating more than it is painful.
Yeah, I don't think a scab on an elbow has ever taken a quarterback out of an NFL game, do you?
Not a National Leaguer.
And he looks like one. He does, you know, Boomer. Yeah, Boomer.
Dorsett is deep. Springs in front. It's Springs. About 6. Terry Jones, the nose tackle. Number 63 made the stop on Springs. See what happened to him.
I think he went the wrong way. You see, he's going to go into Rafferty right here. We'll see if you see, and he goes to his left. You see that? Rafferty just keeps him going that way, takes him that way, and by the time he gets by, Springs has that 5, 6, 7 yard gain. Because Rafferty gave him a little influence, they call that. He said, hey, we're going this way. Jones goes that way. Nope, Springs goes the other way.
The Cowboys are good at that influence. This is Dorsett. He got maybe one. Alfonso Carricker and Terry Jones again. Let's watch him again.
Now again, he's going into Rafferty, see, and then the guard comes down. You see, he's saying, I got that center, I got that center, and then boom, here comes the guard down on him, and that's Glenn Titensor there. He just takes him right out of the play. I'll tell you, that's tough. You know, he's playing one guy, and Rafferty influences him a little to the left, and then the left guard comes down.
Those kind of things keep happening. You have to get a lot of practice getting up quick. 3rd and 3. Hogaboom back to throw. Outside, Springs. Springs can't find the handle, had a turn back. Mark Murphy was out there with him. And Danny White will come on a punt. Nothing. The Cowboys lead the Packers, but neither team, quite honestly, has been very impressive on offense. It's been a slow motion game.
Very lethargic type of thing, and I really think that the weather has a lot to do with this.
90 degrees and very humid in Dallas. Philip Epps back deep for Green Bay, and Danny White back to punt, number 11. Epps, 36. Victor Scott, for the second time, is right in his face as he makes the catch. Number 22, so impressive in training camp and down quickly on special teams.
Well, they're going to have to start doubling or triple teaming Victor Scott on this, because you can only have 2 guys can go down when the ball is snapped. And Victor Scott is the guy on the left, so you can put 2 guys on him. You got to get up and you hit him and keep him from getting down there. And we know Lynn Dickey's not playing quarterback now because he's there with his helmet off. There's the guy it is.
Randy Wright, rookie from Wisconsin, with Jesse Clark behind him. Everything is out of sync. The Packers had a problem with early snaps and not being able to work the coordination between McCarron and Wright a couple weeks ago against the Raiders.
That was the thing. You know, when you get a quarterback, they have the same plays.
Still first down.
They have the same plays and the same cadence, but it's coming from another guy's voice. And he has the pauses in different places, and it takes a while to get used to that.
3 times, I think, against the Raiders, they had a missed snap, an early snap, or whatever happened. Packers' 6th-round draft choice last year, Randy Wright. He's going to be good. Batted away by Too Tall Jones.
Well, that's one of those good news, bad news type deals. They say, well, we want to change the pace. We're going to bring in Randy Wright. We're going to roll, but then you roll to the right into Too Tall Jones. You know, maybe if you want to roll, you roll away from him or outside of him.
I don't know how long, or if they ever have, kept statistics about bat downs by a defensive lineman, but I'll bet you if they did, and if they ever do, he'd lead the league by going away statistics.
That's what Everson Walls said really helped him play in left corner.
Right. Chased by White and Anthony Dickerson. Ron Fellows finally tripped him up. 12:55 left to play 3rd quarter. Dallas 13, Packers nothing.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and Everson Walls says that the advantage he has of being a left corner is having Too Tall on his side. And he said sometimes that's a disadvantage, because he said sometimes from his defensive position, he can't see through Too Tall to see when the quarterback throws the ball. So he loses them.
On a quick count, they have changed their cadence a bit, but nothing helps. Jesse Clark, they are 0 for 8 on 3rd down conversions. They had a very frustrating week last week against the Bears, and the ovation, what there is of it, is for the Dallas defensive unit. Rich Campbell, number 19, Forrest Gregg standing there.
I don't know, it'd be hard. You know, Rich Campbell, he's the 3rd quarterback. I wonder if he's thinking, geez, I'd like to get in there, or if he's thinking the way we're blocking and the way things are going, I don't know if I'd even want to get in there.
Bucky Scribner has already punted 6 times. Done it well. There's another good one. Rocket. Flag down back at the line of scrimmage as Gary Allen swings upfield. Allen back to about the 27-yard line of Dallas, but a penalty marker down. John Dorsey was down to make the hit. A 50-yard punt by Bucky Scribner. He's going to have to do it again against the Packers.
Well, we were talking earlier that only the outside guys can leave when the ball's snapped. And if anyone else leaves, that's an ineligible man downfield, someone that can't leave. I'm sure the Packers will take that and have Bucky Scribner kick it again.
Ineligible downfield on the punt, number 25.
Harlan Huckleby is number 25. Forrest Gregg, all he can do is scratch his head. Packers were such a powerful offensive machine. They scored over 400 points last year. This year, they haven't been able to get on track.
Well, I still say a lot of it has to do with not being able to get the ball to their outside receivers, and maybe that's pass protection. But you see here today, it was just 1-2-3 punt, 1-2-3 punt, and they just haven't been able to get anything going.
The best shape they've had the ball, the best position they've been, is their own 38-yard line. Scribner again gets off a real launch, and Allen signals for the fair catch at his own 23. He had some room. He's a little disgusted with himself, and now there's another flag down.
You know, it happened over here, Pat, on the sideline. First, the official threw his hat, which means that the the guy covering went out of bounds. You see, he doesn't have his hat on. Now, that just meant that he went out of bounds. Then, right after he threw his hat, he went boom, he threw his flag down there. So he gave a double dipper. I think what happened, I think the Dallas guy blocked the Packer guy out of bounds when he was out of bounds.
That's a good place not to be blocked.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 32 of the receiving team. Post possession, the receiving team will keep the ball after the penalty.
Let's see.
Well, it's going to happen here in the bottom of the screen because it happened out of bounds here in the Packers sideline. You see it right there now. Now it's okay. Now watch the official up here. He's going to throw his hat. See, it's okay there, but he blocked him. See, now the hat comes first, and then he blocked him outside after he was out of bounds. Look, he's still covering from out of bounds.
He's behind the visiting team. Can't do that. 13-0. Dallas leads Green Bay. Dallas has the ball their own 12-yard line. Gary Hogeboom still the quarterback. Springs and Dorsett behind him. Hogeboom fakes to the right. Tosses left. An interception. Packer touchdown. Robert Brown jumped up in front of Hogeboom and scores for Green Bay.
That's the second time that Hogeboom did that today. You know, the first one, the first half, Ezra Johnson dropped one in his hands, and Hogeboom, that's him. You know, you have to get that ball over that defense. That's the second time today that the quarterback has thrown a screen pass to the defensive lineman. That may be what the Packers need to get something going here.
Let's happen in a hurry.
Now what happens, he's going to fake the screen to the right, come back here. Now watch Brown. He sees it, and he stops rushing. See, he stopped rushing, and he had Pozderic at his feet. He just stopped rushing, went up and got the ball. Now that's all Hogeboom's fault. If you don't have a screen, just throw it away. Do something, but don't throw it to a guy number 93.
There's no other way you can say it. It has to be that way. Garcia with Scribner holding. We'll try for the extra point. Dallas 13. Extra point is blocked. 13-6. Michael Downs again on the action, and Garcia's extra point is blocked. And we have 11 and a half minutes left to go, third quarter. Dallas 13, the Packers 6. Been a long time since we saw a score like that.
This is a big play. Watch Michael Downs. He's the second guy in right here. He's going to come in and block it here. But I'll tell you, that could be a big play. When you block an extra point and miss it, or miss an extra point, it always comes back to haunt you. But watch that play of Michael Downs coming in there, how he stretched out and boom, knocked that thing down. That could be a very big play for the Cowboys.
That's just a matter of desire. He really had to want to get it done. Here's Garcia to kick off. Back deep for Dallas. Allen and Fellows. Allen. 20. College football comes up next Saturday on CBS Sports. A key Big Ten game between the Fighting Illini of Illinois against the Hawkeyes of Iowa. Live 12 o'clock Eastern time. College football next Saturday on CBS. And then, of course, on Sunday, John Madden and I will be at Soldier Field in Chicago for the match between these Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. Crowd starting to come to life. I'm not sure if it's life or it's booing of Hogeboom. I doubt it. Not this early in the year yet. Dorsett in motion. Pitch back, Springs, flags already.
Well, it can't be too much time because there was still 13 seconds on the clock. That'd be some offensive lineman moving.
Cowboys look disjointed.
Number 75, offense, still first down.
Bill Pozderic might have moved a little early. Other scores, Seattle 17. Up until today, the Bears were unbeaten, but now they're down by 10. But remember last week, Seattle led New England 23-0 and lost. Miami 30, Indianapolis 7. Dan Marino, another big day. Denver 14, Kansas City 0. First and 15 here at Texas Stadium. Dallas 13, Green Bay 6. Dorsett shakes a couple of tacklers, but can't get rid of Randy Scott.
That's one thing about Tony Dorsett. When he starts one way, if you're a linebacker, you always have to stay behind him so that you don't give him that cutback. You can never get even with him or overrun him because he will always cut back inside you when you do.
Dorsett has carried 13 times, picked up only 13 yards, 23 yards, beg your pardon. Average 1.8 per carry. So it hadn't been a vintage day for him either.
That's good defense, too.
Hogeboom back, looking left. Gets to Springs. Springs has some room. Springs steps out of bounds after a Dallas first down. Mike Douglas knocked him out of bounds. Dorsett with a good block.
Well, it was the second back. Dorsett is going to go out left. You see deep. They have a blitz on. Springs is the second back to that same side. Dorsett ran the defense off deep, and Springs came in behind it. Dorsett, I don't know, that was a good block. It was a little block. I mean, he sat down there and got
in the way. Yeah.
If it works, it's a good one. I wonder if you practice those things, like you go out and practice.
Lying down in front. Okay, it wasn't this way. Here's the play again. And there's Cosby again. That's the one that John Madden told you about in the first half, where the guards go one way, they cross behind the center, and that confuses everybody.
Let's see if we can watch what happens here. You see, he's going to, Hogeboom will eventually come out and throw from here. And watch the guard. He pulls, and he's out in front of him. And these guys come this way, cross that way. Now watch what happens. You see, the right guard and right tackle come to the left. The left guard comes to the right. He fakes. Now Hogeboom's out here. He has a blocker in front of him and a wide open Doug Cosby.
If we have a chance later on, I'd like to see what that does to those linebackers. If Dorsett gets thrown for a yard loss. Those two Green Bay linebackers, when the guard and the tackle on the right side pulled in one direction, they both took off. No way. That's got to be terrible, terrible experience to feel that you've been had like that.
That's right. And you start that way, and then the back comes there. Let's see what it does to them. Now, here's the two linebackers. You see them stand there? They go, oh, he's going that way. Oh, he's going, oh, no. Whoa, it's back the other way. And by the time they get back, it's all over, and Cosby has the ball. That really was an effect.
Hogeboom back. Packers in a blitz. Springs can't hold on. There are some boos for Hogeboom echoing around Texas Stadium. It's the Cowboys 13, the Packers 6.
I think if I were the Cowboys, I'd run that play some more. They've done it 2 times today, and both times Doug Cosby was wide open.
How do you think Danny White feels?
Upset
about this whole thing, with Hogeboom being voted by the players the quarterback they like, and Danny White having done as well as he did over those years? Upset, yes. Very upset. Hogeboom to Dunley. 8 yards. Flynn, the hitter. Not a first down.
Yeah, that's a bad call. Anytime you're third down and you're going to throw the ball, you have to get it up beyond the first down thing. I know in practice it looks good. Donnelly makes all the moves and gets a first down, but percentage-wise, they never do in this league.
Wonder why. You wouldn't permit that as a coach, would you?
Well, no, anyone that I put out as a receiver on third down, I always wanted them all up beyond the markers for first down. So if we did complete it, at least we had the first down.
Why throw it?
That's right.
If you're not going to get a first down out of it.
Because they did complete it, but they're still punting.
Look out for Danny White now. He might take off. Oh. Angling sideline. Epps at the 12. Carl Howard was deeper than Epps and was there quickly. Gary Hogeboom. 15 left to play third quarter. Ball at the 14-yard line. Cowboys leading the Packers 13-6. Green Bay has the ball. Jesse Clark barreling into the secondary. Dexter Clinkscale and Everson Walls made the stop for Clark.
Clark got right in there behind that big Ron Holstrom, who's starting his first time today at the right guard. But watch them. They start here. They do a little influence on Dutton. You see John Dutton, the guard. Holstrom started like he was going down on the center. Dutton just followed him right in there, the old influence. And Jesse Clark ran right by him.
First down, Packers. Randy Wright is their quarterback. It's Clark again with blockers in front. Jesse Clark to the 40. Gain of about 5, maybe 6. Randy White on the stop right now for an NFL update. Let's go back to our New York studio, and here is Brent Musburger.
Pat, the Buccaneers are back in business against the Giants. They went on an 84-yard drive. James Wilder covered 64 of it, including that 1-yard touchdown. It's now 10-7. Let's go back to Pat and John.
Dallas 13, Green Bay 6 at Texas Stadium. Second down, 4 to go. Line of scrimmage to Green Bay 40, but the Packers, after that touchdown, a cheap one, looked a little inspired. They look better. Here's Ellis. Around the outside, he'll have a Green Bay first down. Very nearly to midfield. Michael Downs chased him out of bounds.
You know, for the Packers, now is the perfect time to run because we've mentioned this before, the humidity, the heat, and it's really, the defense is tired. You know, now they're a half a step slower, and now is the time to hit them with that fullback inside and the halfback outside.
Got 2 big backs to do it with, Ellis and Jesse Clark. Clark goes about 235, Ellis about 225. Clark is 33 up in front of Ellis. Right. Kaufman, the intended receiver. Kaufman, you could tell right then, cannot run quite yet.
Now he has a knee, he has a stretched ligament in his knee, and he's missed the last few weeks, and Forrest Gregg says we don't think he's ready to play. He's not 100%, but we are going to play him as much as he can, and he was man-to-man that time on Dexter Clinkscale. Clinkscale had good coverage.
Second down and 10. Paul Kaufman, unheralded for a long time, but an all-pro.
A little like John Riggins, doesn't it?
National Leaguer. Right, rolls, throws. Deep for Jefferson. Walls back there, and Everson Walls comes up with the interception. Michael Downs again put the pressure on the quarterback, Randy Wright.
Michael Downs is the one that should get credit for that interception because he's the guy that hit Wright just as he threw the ball. Now watch, here comes Downs, 26. He's coming up the middle, changes course. Now watch, Wright's throwing, boom, he hits him right there, so he can't follow through. The ball's a little short here. Everson Walls, step for step, goes up and gets the interception. That was a double dipper.
Walls and Downs get both ends of the cone on that one. 13-6, Dallas leads. John Madden, Texas Stadium. Dallas 13, the Green Bay Packers 6. First and 10. There's Everson Walls, who just made the interception off Randy Wright. Hogeboom is still the Dallas quarterback. The handoff is to Ron Springs. He gets very little done. George Cumby and Donnie Humphrey make the stop.
And Mike Douglas also coming in from that right side. You know, Forrest Gregg was telling us that guy right there, Mike Douglas, has been and was last year and for a long time their most productive defensive player. That's one that he kind of wants to build around. And he got the 2 new defensive linemen in there, the new weak safety. And I think that, you know, he's doing what he wants to with defense. They're improving, but that offense, whoa.
Packer blitz. Murphy comes up quickly. Dorsett, the ball carrier, stopped, and there's Ernie Stautner. We're on the Dallas bench talking to his defensive unit, his defensive backs at the moment.
He's talking about those runs. You know, the last time the Packers got a couple of runs on him, and he's saying they're probably going to start running. Let's tighten up, guys. We'll play that run. The safety, Clinkscale, you come up a little. When we blitz, let's watch for run. All those things coaches say. 3rd and 6. Ernie Stautner's been saying those things for a while. He did them for a while as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Just about as well as anyone. Better than most. Punishing. Hogeboom. Incomplete. Nothing doing. Doug Donnelly. Mike Renfro in the same area. No penalty called. And no penalty intended. Estes Hood. Estes Hood, he's just step for step there, and he got in there. He did get a little bump, but I think they have to let that go. I mean, the defender has to have some rights too. He's not going to catch that ball anyway. Nah. But I tell you, 13-6, this thing can change. I mean, one more touchdown by the Packers, and this score's tied.
Can change right here. Packers are going to get the ball if they don't fumble it. Close to midfield. Philip Epps back deep. Danny White standing in his own end zone. Could change right now. That'll hang up there for a while. Epps, fair catch signal, bounces out of bounds. Packers will keep it. He was lucky it went out of bounds.
See all those beanbags flying down there when the ball went out of bounds? That's how the officials marked where the ball was touched.
Jim Schaffner, the assistant coach for the Cowboys, talking to the quarterback Gary Hogeboom. Frustrating day. 13-6. The Cowboys lead the Packers. Third quarter. 5:11 left to play. John Madden for president. I'm not sure we're ready for that. It is a political year.
Oh, wouldn't that be a sight?
Ellis away from Downs. Down deep in Cowboy territory. This is the best position the Packers have had from which to start. Fellows finally got him out of bounds. Ellis broke away from Downs.
This is what I think happened. I think that they've only completed 2 passes to Lofton or Jefferson today. They've thrown 7 to him. I think now it looks like they're going away from that. That didn't work. Maybe they're giving up on it and going more to the backs now and maybe tight end.
Cowboys 13, Packers 6, and Wright fakes to Ellis, goes deep, has Lofton. Had him and lost him, and there's a penalty marker down the way back. Where Wright was, Michael Downs was back with Lofton. The ball had been there more quickly. That would have been 6. Holding. Green Bay.
This is the thing. It's been a very frustrating day for this Packer offense. And, you get those types of things when you're trying to block guys like Randy White and Too Tall Jones and those guys.
Holding. Number 67, offense. Still first down.
Carl Swinkie.
And he was the guy who was trying to block Jim Jeffcoat. Starting his first year out there for Harvey Martin. Probably of all the guys on pass protection, he probably has the easiest go of it today. So he shouldn't be holding.
They move it back. Make it first and 20. I'm sorry. 4:53 left to play third quarter. First down, the ball back at the 47-yard line now. Right goes deep. Up into the pocket. Ron Cassidy, the 4th Green Bay wide receiver, makes the reception. Let's look at Cassidy, number 88.
Well, they hit him deep, and now they're trying to come in short underneath. We see Cassidy. He just comes up, goes to the inside, then it's an option thing, then slides back to the outside. Started like he was hooking in and then slid out. That's a picture you put on a driver's license. That's a bad picture.
If you want to lose your license.
See those in post office.
2nd and 14. Clark, look out. Dexter Clinkscale came firing in from the blind side. Wright never saw it.
I'll tell you, he didn't. And you talk about a guy, Dexter said that he's born again. He's born again on this one. Watch, Wright is going to go to his right. Clinkscale's coming from his backside. Now watch, he doesn't see him. He's coming, boom, 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 wah, right there. He didn't see him. He didn't feel him. That's lucky that wasn't a fumble. You get a lot of fumbles on that type of thing.
In the NFL, they come from the blind side, too, don't they?
They do. Dexter was rotating on that one.
Third down. Look out. Wright chased by White. Knocked away, intended for Lofton. Batted down by Everson Walls. Good defense by Dallas.
Lofton doesn't get open there. They're going to say, why doesn't he catch passes? I'll tell you, Walls is just there man for man. He covers him. Walls looks like he may have been working a little harder on that play than Lofton was.
And so Bucky Scribner comes in, the left-footed Packer punter. Standing back at the 5 is Gary Allen.
Those are tough words to say, Packer punter.
End zone. Back to the 20.
Was that a pooch?
No, that was not a pooch.
I think the Packer punter pooched one.
Well, he did, but it wasn't intended to be. Let's get away from that and get back to an update and take you back to the NFL studio and Brent Musburger.
Pat, one of the unbeaten teams is about to fall. The Chicago Bears are under fire by Seattle. Play fake to Franco Harris, and Dave Craig hits Eric Lane 55-yard touchdown. Seahawks lead the Bears right now 24-7. Back to Pat and John.
Here it's 13-6, Brent. The Cowboys stumbling and staggering a bit, but leading the Packers 13-6. Here is Ron Spring. Nothing doing. The ball pops loose, but it's already called dead. Mark Murphy up to make the hit.
You see old Big Phil Pozderick working there against Donnie Humphrey. They were just grunting and groaning and blocking and playing against each other. And here comes Ron Springs, and he runs right into him.
Springs' tank is empty at the moment. He's headed for the sideline.
I think a lot of them have about a quarter of a tank left.
Newsom has taken his place. Donnelly comes wide left. Renfro goes wide right. Gary Hogeboom still the quarterback. Packers showing blitz. They fake it, and they're coming. Up high for Donnelly. Nothing doing. No flag. Tim Lewis right there.
That had to be an audible there because Hogeboom was just trying to hit that ball against a blitz, just get it out there quickly, up over Lewis's head to Donnelly. You see, he just threw it out there. Lewis has pretty good coverage. He turns, you see what he does there? He turns into Donnelly. Now, that's a smart thing. When they turn their head the opposite way away from him, that's when it's completed over their head.
3rd and 7. 3:09 left, third quarter. 13-6 Dallas over Green Bay. Hogeboom from the spread. Has time this time. Gets Cosby. Cosby doesn't get the first down. He came back in the direction of the quarterback and lost his first down yardage as Estes Hood knocked him down.
You see, Tom Landry, he doesn't get upset a lot, but he got upset the same thing that I used to. Third down, complete pass. That's the second or third time they've done it today and not gotten a first. But that one wasn't as bad. Cosby did run up beyond the sticks. Then he had to come back to get the ball.
Tom's list of plays doesn't go with his jacket. And the offense has been sputtering today. 13-6 Dallas leads. Danny White has punted 7 times already. Phillips Epp back deep. And hit quickly. Carl Howard there. Carl Howard, number 21, a 36-yard punt and no return. Good coverage by Howard. Dallas 13, Green Bay 6. Forrest Gregg looking on. His team really is fortunate to be this close. Next Sunday at Soldier Field in Chicago, John Madden and I will be. It all begins with the NFL Today, a feature on Mike Ditka, Fire and Ice. Mike Ditka is full of fire, and he'll be fuller if they lose to Seattle today. 1st and 10 Green Bay. From their own 35, Ray Krause, the ball carrier, number 21. Success always produces head coaches. Former Cowboys who are around the league are leaders. Forrest Gregg here, the Packers. Mike Ditka, Dan Reeves, Ron Meyer, New England, and John Mackovic in Kansas City. 2nd and 4. Krause is the lone setback. He can make some things happen. Number 21. Let's get another update on what's happening with the Bears in Seattle and go to Brent Musburger in New York.
And Pat, those ex-Cowboy assistants are about to go 1-4 today. Mike Ditka under heavy pressure here. Avellini completes the ball to Suey. Butler strips it, and one of John Madden's favorite guys, a nose guard from BC, recovers. Joe Nash for the touchdown. Go get him, Joe. 31-7.